strategize together. Let's hear it from an expert. Join the conversation, it's informative and free. You and me, let's talk some strategy. Now here's your host, Dorien Morin-van.
Hello, everybody. Yes, it is Dorien Morin-van right here with another episode of Strategy Talks. I'm very excited to introduce you to my guest today. But before I do, I want to welcome everybody who is here live and those of you who might be watching this on the replay on YouTube or LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook. Let us know where you are joining us from and put hashtag replay in the comments. A special shout out to those of you who might be listening to this as a podcast. Thank you for being here. So today's guest, I'm going to go ahead and bring him on screen with us, and then I'll introduce you to Bruce. Hi, Bruce.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I know. It's awesome to talk to you. We were discussing some exciting stuff in the green room that we'll be sharing with you in a second. But let me introduce you to Bruce. Bruce Paulson is a digital marketing expert and founder of Determined Solutions, who writes about search engine optimization, Google Ads, and digital marketing techniques at determinedsolutions.com. Before I ask Bruce about brand search, which is what we're going to talk about today, I want to do a quick shout out to our sponsor, Social Insider. They are the intuitive dashboard for social media analytics, reporting, and competitors analysis for brands and agencies. If you need data, you need Social Insider. So, Bruce, welcome.
Thank you for having
awesome.
me.
We're going to talk about brand search. You and I were in the green room and we're talking about Google searches, and you're that Google expert that everybody needs to have in their back pocket. I think that we all need somebody like you who can help us. So today we're going to talk about brand search, and what does that really mean? Let's dive right into all the good stuff, Bruce.
So it's how I start getting found online, or SEO, for a business. And the reason why it's important is because one of the reasons is because of the power of referrals, right? So like I had a water leak about a month ago. It was kind of terrible, bunch of water under the house. But my buddy runs a property management company, and I don't know anything about water leaks, but I figured he did. And he gave me, so I called him up and he gave me 3 plumbers that are his favorite plumbers, but he's like, they're really busy. So here's the 3 best ones. And he told me which ones he likes in the order. And so the first thing I do is I go to Google and I punch in the company's name.
Okay.
While I'm on the phone, what he's telling me is, I go to Google and I punch in their name. That's called a brand search. And this is my buddy who I've known my whole life, and he's telling me to go check out this company, right? And I don't want to waste his time. He's busy. So I'm just going to a brand search, assuming that I'm going to find this company. I did find them, but barely. They sort of had a website. It's one of those websites on a hosting platform, if you know what I mean. And it's a real basic couple page website, which, that a lot of small businesses are like that. But because I know exactly what I'm looking for, I knew that they were the only search result there.
Right.
Whereas you don't want to put that to chance. If I was that business, you want to just cover the search results. All the first page, you want those 10 listings that are free, not necessarily the paid ones, but you want those to be either your social media profiles, your business listings, which are also called citations, or like a video or something. You want all of that stuff to be you or your products or services. The same way as if you Google all the major brands, Walmart, Coca-Cola, Nike, Target, they're going to cover, when you Google those brands, you know exactly what there's no, oh, this might not be the right one.
There's no confusion.
Right. There's no gray area. You know exactly what you're looking for.
So the first plumber that you did a brand search for wasn't very good. What did you end up doing? Did you go with the second or third? Were they any better?
No, they were all, they were all, they were. No, but I mean, I know this, but I know this, right? So I know that, okay, this is a small, medium-sized business. Like they probably don't, and like plumbers right now, like my buddy's, he's like, you're probably not going to be able to get them. They're so busy. They have so much business, at least in this area in North Carolina right now. So they're not too worried about their marketing. But if you care about getting found online, if you are looking for more customers, like it's, in my opinion, and with my experience and what I do for clients, it starts with securing your brand online is what I call it, or owning your brand search, or owning your brand online. Or
that makes sense. Well, and I want to point out something that I know you know, and I know that even if you're busy right now, and we all should know this, things can change. World events can happen, right? COVID just happened, right? Things happen and things change. So if you're banking on, well, I'm busy now, I don't need to market. Market is a continuous action. It should be happening all the time. Even if you dial it back a little bit, you should never stop marketing, because your well can dry up. And it did for quite a few people. So you should always be marketing. So this is really good information about being on that first search. And now I'm going to like improvise, right? We were in the green room and you did a brand search for Morin Media. So I'm going to ask a question about that. You found at the second spot, I was basically on the first page. But
I still got it pulled up.
Yeah, you found moremedia.tv, right? So is that, how can I get that off? Maybe this is a question that takes a lot longer, but
no. So this is very typical, right, of smaller and medium-sized businesses. And this is search engine optimization, right? You want to optimize this search more in media, which happens to be your brand search. You want to optimize for that. So the way that so you're going to need to outrank. Well, one, you're number one for Morin Media, which is good, right? That's your website. But the second one is More Media TV, which is not you. So if someone refers, they could very easily think that you're More Media TV, and they click them and contact them, and then they have a bad experience. And that's not what you want. So what I would do if I was you is, I would create social media profiles. I would create business listings, and I would create videos with my phone and upload them to YouTube or there's a whole bunch of video hosting sites. I'd upload the same video to all of them, because you never know what's going to get up there. YouTube is going to usually be the best shot because it's owned by Google, and it's a real thing. Google does favor their own properties. So if I was you, I would start with the big ones, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, and
I have all of those. So that makes me just wonder what I can do.
So if you already have those, go and look at them and make sure that you have them branded correctly. Make sure that they say More in Media and not like your name, your Dorien Media, or because you'll be surprised. A lot of people, you want to be consistent with your brand name, right?
Okay.
Because that's what the real brands do.
Right.
So one, check that. And then two, you might want to create some business listings. Let me see. So like a Google, I don't see a Google My Business here. And that might not, you'd want to think about that, like, because that's more for local. So that might not be a good situation for you, but you can still go out and create other business listings.
Right.
And then there's a website, so we all know the big major social things, but there are hundreds. They're smaller, they're niche. There's a website called knowem.com. You can go there and I think you can sort by niche. It'll show it. You put in your brand name and it'll show you hundreds of websites where that brand is available, that handle or username or whatever. And then if you can't find like More in Media on like Instagram or something, try like More in Media 1, right? And then always make sure there's almost always, some don't have it, but there's almost always a place to put a link to your website, right? Because then it's like this profile goes to this link, this website, and the search engines crawl that. Right. And if you don't put the link there, that's a little bit less information for the search engine to crawl. Okay. But if you do, that's more information for the search engine to go and crawl and understand what your website and that profile is about. Okay. So you always want to put your link, your brand link to your website
in the profile.
Brand. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So we talked about how you can do this. You said videos, YouTube. You mentioned business listings and, claim your name in as many and then link to that. Is there anything else that people can do that gets you on that first page? And there's about 10 listings on the first page. So you want the first 10 to be you?
Yes. Yeah. There are 10 organic or free or whatever. Yeah. That you don't have to pay Google to show up for.
Right. And I just made a LinkedIn page because I had a couple of LinkedIn experts on here on my show. Yeah. And I had a LinkedIn page and I didn't know, I wasn't using it. I was a team of one. And so I deleted it probably 5 years ago. But
Did you have a business page?
Yeah. And I had deleted it, but I restarted it just recently. So
just go back, make sure that you have your brand name exactly correct, and make sure that you put a link to your website in there.
Yeah. So that
but
should
you
help.
You just want to do that over and over again. Another way to show up is if you happen to get interviewed by like a local newspaper or something, but you can't, it kind of depends if they use your brand name in the title of the article. Because if they do, then it's got a pretty decent shot of showing up on your brand search. If they don't, if they just say local entrepreneur does this branding, then probably doesn't much
doesn't have the same thing. Yeah. And I think that's probably what's happened. If we're using my brand as an example, my name is part of my brand. So there are places where people know me by name, other places where they know me by brand. So I think there's probably a little bit of confusion.
So those are two different searches.
Yeah.
Morin Media and then Dorien.
Okay. So I should look about this is great. So tell us a little bit more about the why, right? So it's called a brand search. You want to have the first 10 organic, you said videos in YouTube with the name of your brand in the video, local listings, business listings, Google My Business if you're local. But what is the exact why?
So the reason why I did it is one of the reasons why I like search engine optimization so much is I often in life have been like, well, what do I do? Well, with search engine optimization, you just go to Google and Google already shows you what's working. And so when I looked at these big brands, I'm like, these are billion-dollar brands. This is what they're doing. Let me start here, right? And then that was at the beginning, and I had been doing that for years. But then when I got a little bit better at Google Ads and stuff, and I would see that people would just click so let's say I'm running ads for a dentist, right? People would type in somebody else. They're looking for a specific dentist, right? And they would put in let's say I'm running ads for Bob the dentist, and they would put in, I'm looking for Susie dentist in a completely different city. Somehow, because of not when you first start doing it, you have to negative things to be I don't want to show up for these. It kind of takes a little bit. And people would click on Bob the dentist when they're looking for Susie the dentist in a town an hour away. They'll just, not everybody, but plenty of people will just click on anything. And then sometimes in your case with Morin Media, More Media TV is pretty darn close. So even for someone who's paying attention like that, because TV, that's media, more that's pretty close.
Right.
So you don't, I don't want to leave that to chance. Right. And I know that I can basically fix that with social profiles, business listings, and videos.
That's awesome. That's really, really good information. Now, we were in the back room, in the green room. We just have a couple of minutes. Let's touch on reputation management, right? Say Morin Media is involved in a lawsuit. Let's hope that never happens. And that's something that we
I've
don't
worked
want in
with
there.
clients that have that happen. It's not
Okay.
good. It
No.
shows up on your brand search,
So
and
then
it
what?
shows up from very high authority, very powerful websites like media websites, like
Right. Media
newspapers,
website.
TV stations,
Right.
and like I have no idea if it's right or wrong, like if the person was right or wrong, but like that's negatively impacting their business if they see something nasty about your business,
Sure. Sure.
right? So I would make sure that my social profiles, my citations, and my videos show up above that so that it pushes anything I don't want to see to the second page. The reason why that's important, when you do a search, it's just human nature. 9 out of 10 people do not go to the second page.
Isn't that incredible? I've heard that before. It's like people are just, they don't click.
That it's a fact.
It's
Well, it's a slight difference on mobile now with scrolling. You do see a little pop at the beginning of the second page, but it's still like one, obviously you wouldn't want anything out there like that, but it there I wouldn't put something like that to chance because I know that I can at least do a pretty good job. Now it's not like a guarantee, but like especially like me, I'd throw some firepower at that.
right. Okay. That makes sense. So, say you're a parent and say you have a young adult or a teenager living in your home who got into some trouble and now they're trying to apply. And I know this is a little bit different, but some of the same principles apply. They want to apply to a college or a job. Some of these same principles applies. The first thing you would say is let's do a name search, right? A brand search for their name. And then you would also recommend that they create social profiles that I would outrank negative media.
Yeah, so I've never been in a situation like this because I only work with businesses. And so I've never thought about it, but yeah, I'd basically do the same thing. I guess I'd create a website with the person's name on it first,
Okay.
because that's still going to be a brand search. The person's in the land of the internet and search engines.
Right.
That's still
Right.
a brand search. Yeah. So I create a website. I might. I mean, you could still do business listings. You'd have to get a little creative with it.
Right. Right.
But you could still do social media profiles and all that stuff. And you don't have to fill these social media profiles out. Like
You
you
just
don't
need to
have
have,
to
yeah.
use them and post on them. You just need to fill them out correctly so that, you got to be consistent with the brand name.
Right. So I have one more question actually that just popped in my mind about that. So, how important is it you were saying uniform branding. So you were asking me, Morin Media is really 3 words, but of course, online in my website, you spell it as 1 word, Morin Media. Is that something to consider? How I spell that or how I search that?
That's a pretty good question. So that's another reason why you want to do a lot of these until you kind of want to overdo it as opposed to underdo it with creating business listings and citations. And
Okay.
well, especially like social profiles and videos,
Yeah.
because then you've got a better chance because those are two, when you change something, that's a different search. So like I did 3 words. So I did the
Right.
more and
More
then
in
in
media.
media.
That's
So
how I write it. Yeah.
so you've got a better shot. Let me look. Yeah. Okay. So when I take out the space, you are pretty much covering everything, and the TV thing goes away.
Hmm.
So that's good for bringing that up. So like and then so I often use my own brand. So if
Yep.
I do determined solutions and it's all 1 word,
Yeah.
I still take up actually I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I'm getting, when I do just one word, I don't know, it's not getting anything. So,
Oh,
okay, so
no.
that looks weird, but yeah, I would just do more,
Okay.
like create more of them.
More. That's
And especially
fair.
like you could, if you're having an issue with that, you could create a Instagram with more the little, what is that? Not a hype,
Underscore? An
not
underscore?
whatever, dash,
Yeah.
underscore, whatever they let you do.
Yeah.
And then you could do another one and just Morin and then dash media.
Hmm.
And both of them link to your website.
Okay.
So yeah, that one would take a little bit more
Thinking.
thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. I'm pretty sure I could do Walmart, or I could do wall and then mart, and
It would all show up. So if somebody has never done a brand search, is there anything that you can tell them? You said start with a website, make sure that's right, and then just start making these business listings, Google My Business, and these social media accounts, right? That's the first step.
yeah. Oh, and so here's something important to say: like, you want to be a little bit more careful with the business listings. You don't want to. So it's fine to do duplicate social media profiles. You don't want to do duplicate business listings.
Okay.
So
All
you
right.
don't want two of the same Better Business Bureau or two of the
No.
same Yellow Pages. Or
Okay.
so
That makes sense.
that's
That makes
something.
sense. All right. So, Bruce, I didn't tell you, but I have a rapid fire round. So, I have 3 questions for you.
Okay.
What do you prefer, emails or conversations?
Depends.
I know the answer to this one, but I want you to tell us why. Education or experience?
Experience.
Okay.
Why? Because it's a better educational experience. You learn more by doing.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people, me included, you learn by doing.
Yeah. And then show or tell, which is very similar. That was my 3rd question.
Show. It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to educate someone, I think telling, because just showing isn't helpful.
Okay.
Well, it's not gonna get them to replicate it, I guess.
Okay. All right. So I want to make sure that people know how to find you. You are really knowledgeable. You're the Google expert that I go to when I need something, especially ranking. And I want to talk to you about a couple of my clients. How can people find you?
My website, determinedsolutions.com.
All right. Where are you on social media? I'm assuming everywhere, but where are you active?
Not all that active on social media. The most active would be LinkedIn, but then I also distribute my content to, whenever I make a post or anything, it goes out to like I've got like a bunch of these new ones like Telegram, Gab, MeWe. I even use Alignable, even though that barely works. Because I don't want to be dependent on any one of these platforms because I don't own them.
Okay. Very cool. So LinkedIn would be a good place, but go to your website, Determined Solutions, connect with Bruce. And Bruce, I really appreciate you being here. I think you're the first guest on here that's talked about SEO. So I'm really glad that we were able to talk about branding strategy, online branding. Guys, if you need this, get started. If you have questions, connect with Bruce at Determined Solutions. Bruce, thank you so much for being here today with me. And I will be back next week with another episode of Strategy Talks. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Dorien. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
Bye.